What up, PB Cashewville? It's your boy PB, and right next to me is your boy
Cashew.
And we're going to be talking about AI, not Allen Iverson, and also the media, social media. Especially, should athletes really have their own social media? This and many other things on the PB and Cashew Show. Hit it!
What's up, PB Cashewville? It's your boy Cashew, and right beside me is your boy.
It's your boy PB.
And how you doing today, PB?
I'm doing good.
You look excited?
I'm excited for the weather, man. I love the fact that I'm not too excited about sports, sadly. And I know we're a sports podcast, but I have to admit that when the Rangers lost, I felt in a bit of a... It was like one of those things that hit you a little bit later. It's like, shoot, the main team that I've been rooting for all year is out of the playoffs, and it looked like they didn't even give a hoot. So for a bit, I was like, kind of like, eh. And when the Knicks won, I was like, good. At least they pushed it to another series, another game. Yay. And then with the Yankees, I'm like, all right, yeah, they're doing okay. So I was in a bit of a sports funk, but I have to admit that yesterday, when this is being recorded on May 13th. So yesterday, the Knicks played the Heat. And I like the fact that, yes, they showed a little bit more grit. So it kind of got me back into the sports mood. So I know all of you know this, right? Like, I'm a Padres fan, like a San Diego Padres fan.
You
Yeah,
say you were.
they're my National League team. And Jose, you still owe me a hat. You said you were going to go to California and San Diego and get me a Padres hat. You didn't get me a Padres hat, so that's not cool. You should get me a Padres hat. If any of you have a Padres hat that you would love to send to PB and Cashew, put a comment in and we'll DM you and let you know where to send it to. So that's yeah. But yeah, sports are getting back into the swing of things. And yeah, things are overall good. Just really happy with how things are going. And don't you love this lighting setup? I love this lighting setup.
My face is so bright.
Your face is so bright, but at least you're not
bright like a diamond.
But the thing is, you don't look like an Oompa Loompa. If you look at all of our previous ones, we look like Oompa Loompas because it's just so orange. Because the lights that we have here aren't like soft white lights. They're like yellowish lights, so we look like Oompa Loompas. So, but now, because of our new lighting system and stuff we discovered about our system, hopefully we'll be able to deliver better, higher quality videos for you. So to kick things off, I know, Matt, you probably want to talk about the New York Knicks. So before we get into our main segments, we usually like to take this intro, the leading off. We like to call this leading off. And just trying to... what are your thoughts, Matt, about our good old New York Knickerbockers?
I'm not upset. I'm excited.
I'm glad. Good.
Because, okay, so let me explain. The Knicks, yes, they got eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
They faced the Heat and they got eliminated. And, a lot of people was like, oh, you should have beat the Heat. The Heat, they didn't have Tyler Hero. They didn't have Victor Oladipo. But you know what? I'm going to say it. They're more of experience. They have more guys that they've been there already. They know how it is to be in the second round, how it is to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So we had guys, except for Brunson, that doesn't know how it is to be in the second round. Right. Even Derrick Rose knows that. He knows it too about that. But they don't, like Randall and Barrett, they didn't know. Mm-hmm. But this is a learning experience for them, which will get them more hungry to do better and make it to a Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And, the reason why I say I'm not upset is because we saw a star in our eyes in Jalen Brunson.
Right.
We saw RJ Barrett leap a lot. We saw the team grow. Now there's going to be things that we have to do in the offseason that I believe we'll figure, I think Leon Rose will figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, everybody said that Jalen Brunson was overpaid. Everybody said that we were going to be a playing team. Everybody said that Julius Randle would not be an all-star or all-NBA and he was going to be bad this year. Everybody said that RJ was going to be bad and was going to be a bust. Everybody said that we should trade Emmanuel quickly. Everybody said we should have got Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks heard a lot of things this year and they overcame that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how in the first round they faced the Cavs who had Donovan Mitchell and RJ Barrett play better than him.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally play better. The first 2 games he played bad, but the next couple games he was playing phenomenal.
Yeah.
Then when he got to the Heat series, he played phenomenal. Yes, yesterday's game, he wasn't great, but you know what? It's a learning experience for these guys.
I agree.
And because I believe, and this is just me being honest, I believe we just have to add a couple more pieces. I don't think we need to add. I just me be honest, we don't have to add like a superstar. In my opinion, I feel like if we add like pieces to the bench. Mm-hmm. We will be fine. Because I think that's the reason why we lost is because our bench was phenomenal in the regular season, but for some reason
it wasn't
good in the playoffs. And I can understand maybe why, like I said, this is most of their second time. Mm-hmm. This is the first time being in the second round, so they got so excited. Maybe they were a little nervous. I don't know what it is. But at the end of the day, I think you just gotta add a couple more pieces, so you could more shooters and stuff like more people that can defend and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree because I think the upside I like young teams and that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to trade any of our young guys. Like I think part of the requirements of getting Mitchell, if I recall, was to trade a good chunk of our young guys. I'm glad that we didn't pull the trigger on that because with me, that's how you really build a team that's going to be able to do well later on.
Yeah.
You kind of, they're still young, and from a business, I'm also going to look at it as a business standpoint. Like the younger that you are, you don't really qualify for those higher contracts just yet, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to make really good use of them while they're still developing, because eventually, if they develop to like a superstar, they're going to be gone, and then your potential of winning with those guys that are reaching their particular prime, it's going to be gone because they're going to be superstars someplace else. But again, like I always like that formula of if you have little like stars, not big time stars. Now, like in our team and on the Knicks, there's like you have Brunson. Like if you're to say like, okay, if I were to make, when you play NBA Jam, you have to pick like 3 of the best players to represent that team. So if you did that, it would be Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and Barrett. Those are the 3 guys that I would pick for my NBA Jam team for that thing. The 3 best guys on that team. But the fact is that. What I love about the Knicks is that they're really like a team.
Yeah.
Nobody, like, I like the fact that you don't hear about there's a lot of infighting. I look, it kind of shows now, and especially with Golden State, that when you have bad team chemistry, it's not gonna work.
I don't think Golden State have. I'm gonna say rephrase. I don't think Golden State has bad team chemistry. If I could give you a real issue, I think one issue, no one wants to talk about it with Golden State. I just think it's Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole.
I think Jordan Poole has I really believe he has an attitude, but I think that's the only guy.
That's what I mean. Like, the thing about the Knicks, this is what I like about the Knicks. We don't have a guy like that. We don't have a Jordan Poole type player. We don't have a prima donna. Like some folks may... And this is incorrect. I honestly believe some people may think that Julius Randle is a prima donna. He's not. Just for the record, he's not. But we don't really have like that kind of person. What I love about the Knicks is that they're just leaning on each other. Nobody blames anybody. Everybody just kind of pulls together, and that's the reason why I think next season I'm excited for the next season, because now you've gotten this team to get a whole year to be able to re-gel with each other. Got more play.
Not only that, you got Josh Hart now.
Josh Hart, who's
in the full season.
Josh Hart, who is like, I love Josh Hart because he's just the the go-to guy. He's the sixth man of sixth man that hasn't won a sixth man of the year kind of person. And I think that that's a very, he reminds me of, use a baseball analogy. One of my favorite players is Luis Sojo. I mention this all the time. Luis Sojo is one of my favorite baseball players of all time because he can do anything. And he does what needs to get done. Josh Hart, you need a clutch rebound. Josh Hart's going to. Like, he's been missing threes all day, but who was the person who made like a three last night? Josh Hart. And he's experienced too. So you've got him.
First playoff series. Yeah. Like, first playoffs he ever been to, by the way. Like, this
run?
This run was his first playoff run.
But he's been in the league for a while, though, right? Yeah. So you have him and he's buddies with Brunson. And then, you build off of that. And then everybody's kind of like gels together. I think that this is just an exciting thing. That's the same way I feel about, I hate to turn this to hockey also, but the way I feel about the Rangers. I think the Rangers are also the same way. They're bunch of younger guys with a little bit of leadership, a little bit of the jitters of trying to gel together. But I think once they get over that, it's going to be an interesting season.
And then another thing, too, is we have a lot of young guys, but they have a disciplined mind and mature mind.
Yeah, I agree that.
Like, you look at it, RJ Barrett's only 22 years old, maybe about to be 23. Even when he was in the lead at 19, and he was just saying I have to be better. With the team we love each other, and that's a great thing about it.
You're a 22-year-old, and then you're like the number 3 guy on this team. That's really good.
Yeah,
that's really good. And plus,
on top of that,
it can only get better than that. And plus, you have a lot of there's a lot of good pieces here.
Yeah, on top of that too, it's not only one. Okay, in the playoffs, we'll talk about this. The playoffs, maybe it was one person. Most of the time, it was mostly Jalen Brunson. Mm-hmm. In game 6, it was mostly Jalen Brunson. Okay, but in the regular season, it was not only one guy; it was multiple guys that contribute.
Yeah, there's always
Julius Randle contribute. He had 25. I don't care what people say about Julius Randle. Knicks fans say he had 25, 10, and 4 to 5 assists. On top of that, he was an All NBA, third team, and an All Star. Yeah. Jalen Brunson, 24 points. He should have been, in my opinion, an All NBA and an
All Star.
He should have.
That was the biggest when we discussed that was one of the biggest snubs that ever happened.
He contributed. RJ Barrett. Yeah, RJ Barrett, there were times where he did bad, but he also contributed. Mm-hmm. Emmanuel Quickley contributed a lot. He contributed to the defense, and when he finally found his offense, he contributed to that.
He could have been like 6th man of the year, in my opinion, but I don't make the decisions in terms of that. But yeah, like, the pieces are there, so I'm excited to see how the Knicks are going to look like next.
And Mitchell Robinson is another one that contributed a lot.
In
the regular season and the playoffs.
What I liked about Mitchell Robinson too, he kind of understood his role. I mean, we were discussing about the fact that he hated his role. He was like, I want to be like the guy. But you know what he said? Like, rebound, put back, rebound, put back, rebound, put back, and and when we drifted away from that, that's when
I could go on and on talk about it. Say Hartenstein never contribute.
Harkins,
Quentin Grimes contribute. Hey, Deuce McBride contribute once in a while. And actually, Deuce McBride contribute one time in the playoffs against the Cavs. We had a guard Donovan Mitchell, and he had a clutch big 3. Mm-hmm. Then Quentin Grimes in Game 5 of this series, round 2 against the Heat, had a big steal against Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
So these guys
can contribute. It's like little things, and I think it's just trying to be able to maybe just be more consistent. Now you've tasted the playoffs. You've been here before. And the thing that I hope that management does is just to keep this core together. If they keep this core together, I think it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful season.
Got one question before we go to the AI thing. Okay.
Gotcha.
Would I extend Tom Thibodeau or fire Tom Thibodeau?
I think I would extend Tom Thibodeau because but what I would suggest with Tom Thibodeau is increase your rotation. That's the only thing. I think that let's stop doing the 9-man rotation. Let's do 10. Let's get more fresh legs in there. But besides that, I think that with the success of the Knicks, I think we're contributed to him. I don't think you need to fire him. I think he also needs to be there to see how these guys develop, have a hand in the development of these guys, so they can develop a system that's going to be able to succeed with this team.
If we have Deuce McBride next season, I really hope we can see some more playtime for him, man.
Yep.
I really believe, and I always say this, I told this to Zach, I really believe if Deuce McBride could find a way, if Dibs could give him some minutes, I really think he could get better. I really believe he could develop well. Like, I could see it. I could really see him being a two-way player. It's just he has to learn, he has to let him play. How do you expect him to grow and develop if you don't let him play like that,
Sounds good. All right next, I'm going to take a short break. Next, we're going to be talking about AI. Something that we're wondering, what if AI was the thing that's used to officiate? Would it be better for the game, not just for basketball, but for everything? Or would it be something that's going to be very detrimental? We'll get that in a moment. And we're back. So yeah, that's how we feel about we were just talking about the Knicks' season, and so I think we should move on now. Let's all watch baseball now. Baseball's the next thing, but
still got the finals though for the
I know.
Well, I really want to know who's gonna make it in the finals.
Right.
I really hope the Nuggets make it. I really hope Jokic get his first championship.
Yeah.
So people could stop trashing him.
Yeah, I agree. Because I don't want him to be one of those guys that wins multiple MVPs but it doesn't get a championship. So, but we shall see. We shall see who it is. So, our first topic of the day. Yeah, we were going to be doing two topics today, but as you know, we break things up now. So we had a thought. AI, not Allen Iverson, but artificial intelligence. We've been seeing a lot about artificial intelligence in the media and also in everything, that it's now being able to create music. It's able to create art. So we were just wondering, what if AI is what's officiating our games? What if umpires there's no need for it anymore? AI is able to see whether or not it's a ball or a strike, can see if it's foul or fair. In hockey, can see if the goal is there, who's offside, who's onside, if it's determine penalties. In basketball, was that really a foul? Was there goaltending? Was the person's foot on the line? Would that be very beneficial? In terms of football, is it a legal catch? Is not a legal catch? A good hit, legal hit. But let's say there is just an AI that is governing that particular thing. And so we were wondering how that would reshape, or is it a good thing, a bad thing, or let's just leave it as it is. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. So Matt, I'm going to throw it to you first. Because the reason why I wanted to ask you about this is because officiating is one of your major pet peeves. So what if we take away the human element, you design an AI that already knows, that can see every single angle, that knows the layout of every single place, can see a situation, make a determination of it immediately, and get the call right. Do you think that is something that we need in sports today?
No. Look, man, I'm just gonna say it. I feel like AIs are gonna. I think it's a bad idea to have AIs.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And you might call me crazy. I watch a lot of shows. I play a lot of video games. And you see, most of the time when you have an artificial intelligence, it can get corrupted.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And someone can hack it.
Right.
And I'm worried about us having artificial intelligence, and the reason why is because not only I know we're supposed to talk about sport, but let's talk about real quick at the real world. Is they could use that for your information to figure out your information.
Mm-hmm.
AI intelligence, the intelligence, artificial intelligence are very they're supposed to be smarter than a human being. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to they're technology, but it knows everything. It'll have all the answers. And that's the one thing I'm scared of. If we keep going into this AI, because I've been seeing this a lot too in TikTok, AI covers, like, with hip hop artists, is like a hip hop artist passed away. Oh, well, we could have an AI, for example, Juice WRLD song. We could have an AI, AI Michael Jackson song.
Yeah, or Tupac. And we're not talking about either like a lost track either.
We're talking about like new music too.
New music, yeah.
And they could use that to make their own money, and use someone else's, So I feel like AI in general's artificial intelligence, in my opinion, is not. I'm a little worried because, like I said, you can use that to figure out, like, even if the government makes their own, they can find out anybody's information, and that's one thing. But it's not only that. Let's say the government do make an AI and have everybody's information. Someone can hack that,
right?
And someone can figure out everything out. They can figure out people's bank accounts. They can figure out people's problems. Anything. They can blackmail people. Anything. I'm telling you that right now. That's the one thing I worry about. And for sports, I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like no matter what, the betting option right there, the reason why the sports is how it is right now and how the officiating is right now is because of the betting option. Betting is what ruins the sport. And I know for a fact, if let's say the NBA decides to make AI, and they know the betting favor is going to be on, let's say, for example, the Lakers. They could just they could change the program, and that's how I see it. I really believe they can do that. They could change the program to say, oh, you know what, make this a foul even though it's not a foul, and we'll still have the same problems, in my opinion. That's just me being honest with you.
But what if, and I'm just putting this out there just for argument's sake. Let's just say that though, that you develop a system that it is kind of like tamper-proof. I know you can't, but let's just hypothetically say tamper-proof, meaning that maybe 90% of the time it gets the calls absolutely right. Like, let's say they could, there's no real need for a challenge, or challenges are done a lot quicker. Let's say, for example, if there is a foul, right? The AI can already determine that, oh, you know what? This person really had a contact. There was an intent in terms of it. Like, for example, when what's his name? Friggin', like, elbowed Brunson yesterday, Vincent, like,
punch, like, instead of punch in the face.
Instead of all of that time to see whether or not that it's if it's a flagrant one, it's like automatically known. It sees it, reads it, boom. Because let's say it's that advanced, okay. Or when in baseball, like yesterday, I was watching the Padres versus the Dodgers. The umpire was calling like balls that were extremely low as a strike, and I'm like, that's not right. But like, if you had an AI that just goes boom, knows really, it can see the strike zone and it can determine that's a strike, that's not a strike. This person's out. That person's out.
I think if you do an AI, that's the first sport you should probably see if it works with is baseball. Because I'll say this, look, and here's another thing too about AIs. Is like, you also gotta look at it like this: is if you get artificial intelligence, right? People are gonna lose their jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
And then on top of that, where else can an artificial intelligence work at? They could work in manufacturing jobs. They could take my job. They could take your job.
Yeah. No, actually, that's like
that's something you gotta consider too. It's like, because then you're gonna look at what's gonna happen with the human race if you get AIs taking the jobs. We're gonna be poor. We're not gonna have money unless we build our own AI who could support us, which will probably be hard for us. But not hard for us. Maybe rich people could do it, but middle class people, poor people, they can't do that. Homeless people, and people are gonna get out. So. I understand where you're like, you want it. If you want AIs only for sports, then the first sport you should really focus on an AI is baseball. And the reason why I say that is because umpires are probably the worst. Right? Umpires, right?
Yeah, umpires.
They're probably the worst. Because literally sometimes you can look and it's a strike, but oh, that's a ball. Or if it's a ball, no, it's a strike.
Or outs.
Or if it's out.
Is this runner safe? Or
at least if you want to test it, if the AI works, and then you could test it. The second, I think, then you could test it in NBA, and then you could test it into football.
The football, I think, would be the first one, because anything that's like kind of linear.
I don't think football would be the first. I think baseball should be the first.
No, I mean after baseball.
Oh, after baseball.
Because
okay, yeah, maybe
because
football.
With football, it's it's like, where's the ball? Is this is this an actual catch? Did he cross the plane?
But
those kinds of things.
Here's another thing too. When you think about it, and this is how I see it, if the referees see that, like human referees see that all AIs are coming in, they probably would take their job more serious. And they probably would call it right and call it fair.
As a deterrent.
But like I said, though, at the same time, you also got to look at it like that, because then, let's say your job, the bank you work at, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say the owner sees, the AI works for sports. I could have someone make an AI for me.
Actually, they already have that.
But like what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Like,
an ATM is can do the same.
But like what I'm saying,
the same things that we do.
What I'm saying is, if you get an AI, you can find out how to make a robot and then put the AI in a robot body.
Mm-hmm. No, they already have. They already have that. I mean,
yeah, they have those type of things, and that's what I'm worried about. Is if that's the one thing I worry about. Will that ever happen in the future? We see the world be more, because, like I said, we are so advanced, and we put our mind and focus on technology, and that we need technology in our life.
Yeah, and it's like, always
we're gonna need technology. It's crazy. Like, even in video games, you can't play online. Is a technology thing. You can't play. Sometimes you have to have online. Like if you have the Nintendo Switch, you need to have a Switch on. Not all the time. Xbox is another situation. PlayStation is another one where you can play offline,
but you don't get as many of the features.
Or sometimes they don't do the auto save. There's stuff like that. So for me personally, I think we have our mind and focus so much in technology that
we're losing our humanity.
We are losing our humanity. Look at that. Social media is, honestly, social media is just draining everybody. Everybody believes whatever the people say on social media. You don't even know who to trust in social media. You don't know who's telling you the truth, who's giving you the facts.
Mm-hmm.
You could follow someone that's not giving you the facts, not giving you the truth.
Because here's the other thing too, man, with the AI steering it also back to sports. If it's smart enough, who's to say that you're not going to have cybernetic athletes? Yeah. For example, the AI is so advanced, right, that it knows all of Michael Jordan's tendencies and can develop a program into a 3D printed, like in Terminator, bio.
That would be kind of weird though, because then who the heck will win?
It's like you have, but then it's all a matter of creating AIs. It's going to be so crazy. You're gonna
think about
they're gonna create, say, I'm gonna create a player that has Larry Bird's jump shot, Allen Iverson's crossover, Michael Jordan's dunking ability, Vince Carter's dunking ability, and you're gonna create these. It's gonna be like creative players. No, that's how it's gonna be so weird.
Think about this. We're not talking about it too. The metaverse.
Oh goodness.
Literally, this is what baffles me. Is they're making a thing where it's not real, but it's gonna seem like it's real.
It's real.
If you say, I want to be a basketball player, literally you can put yourself as a basketball player, but it's not real. You're gonna have something in your head. It's virtual reality. Let's be real. It's virtual reality. It's not real, and they're gonna make it. They're gonna watch this. They're gonna tell you, you can make money here. You're gonna be fine. But in reality, it's not real. It's virtual reality.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about it is just like I said, there's gonna be people that's gonna be like, oh no, I really am a basketball player. And there's going to be people that's going to quit their job because of that.
That's my dad used to always get on my case about that whenever I played video games. I just hit a home run. It's like, you didn't hit no home run. You pressed a button, and the person that you're controlling in this game hit a home run, but you didn't. It's not like you stood up to the plate and then actually swung the ball and then used your skill to hit that home run. No, it's but that's then when you're gonna be so focused now on simulated, and again, the metaverse ways of doing it. And you've seen movies like Ready Player One. I've read books like Snow Crash, The Matrix, where your reality is your reality, which is a fictionalized, imagined reality, becomes like your own perceived reality, and you'd much rather live there than in the actual real world.
Remember how we were talking? We should have connected this with. Remember how we were talking about Multiverse of Madness, Wanda and her reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember how I was telling you that some people believe this type of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what the metaverse is going to be. Is people, you'd say, oh, well, in reality,
it's like it's not real.
It's not real.
It's not real.
And when the metaverse, because the metaverse is not here, but when it finally comes, that people are going to buy it. People are going to be like, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this thing. It used to be called. There was one place called Second Life. I don't know if it still exists, but I think when I was in college, there was this thing called Second Life. It's essentially a VR version of The Sims. Like, you can go to this place, you can purchase, buy property, live this second life, and it's completely different than your actual real life. It's like Avatar. Like, you're asleep and then you're living this particular life, but it's not real. It's computer generated. One of the things that I always used as an example of the difference between simulation and reality is the Grand Canyon. You've never been to the Grand Canyon? Okay. I remember there was, I think Grand Theft Auto San Andreas has a version of the Grand Canyon, and it looks really cool. And so we're talking about it in one of my Sunday school classes. Like, guys, you've probably played Grand Theft Auto and you've seen this example of the Grand Canyon. Okay, and it looks really cool. It's very detailed. Or even if you go to Red Dead Redemption and you're going through the plains of this place, and it's majestic and it looks awesome and it looks really cool. And then we get sucked into it. I mean, how many hours have we loved in Red Dead? Or Breath of the Wild. It's these are wonderful. But again, when you go to the actual places, it's like that nothing compares to the actual to the real thing. It's like there used to be the I think it's Coca-Cola had the slogan, you can't beat the real thing. You can't beat the real thing. Okay. Now, to put another spin on it, and I think it's because of the existence of these fantasy worlds, I really think that that's one of the reasons why we have a larger increase in atheism. Because now that you see that the simulated world is more appealing than the real world that you are living in, or you just have a better interaction or a better feeling that is brought out in you because you're in this fantasy world. It's like, why should I have real experiences in reality when I'm having a much better time in this fantasy world? Because again, not Michelangelo, not the Ninja Turtle, but the artist, he said nothing compares to divine inspiration, meaning the actual things that are created, God created does like that, like anything that is simulated doesn't come close to the actual reality of things. Yeah. So, but in sport, I guess we can leave it at this, is that if we do implement AI into sport, it's going to snowball into bigger things. And I think it's something that you just don't touch. I think even scientists believe that it's something that you shouldn't really pursue because of its dangers. Okay, I have my own theory about AI, but that's a discussion for another time. But in general, I don't think it's something that should be really pursued because, again, we can see that it's killing creativity, and also, what's the point of people actually thinking already when you have something thinking it for you? And so if you're giving all of that power for something to do the thinking for you, that's opening a Pandora's box of really scary possibilities. Yep. So again, what's the lesson to learn here? Have adventures in reality. Have adventures in reality. I mean, today is just a great example today. Have you been outside today? Like right now, it is.
I went to watch a movie. I was outside a little bit.
Yeah, and
I was playing some Just Dance, so I wasn't really outside, but it's beautiful outside.
Beautiful outside. I cannot wait for our churches to play softball because one thing I remember, it was the first Memorial Day picnic that we had at our church, and then my dad and I, we were at Cadogan Park, and my dad and I were just standing in the outfield, and it just felt so good, just playing ball, getting fresh air. And I was like, this is living. Which reminds me of something we're going to talk about to bring in our next segment. You have to tell us your homework assignment because what I was about to say was going to lead into that. So another quick break, and we will get back to you in a bit. We're at the tail end of this episode. But before we get to the last to our final segment, you did have a homework assignment, Matthew. And your homework assignment was to watch the great movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones, and Ray Liotta, and Burt Lancaster. And what did you think about this movie?
So I saw like Friday morning, like when I came out of work on Thursday. So like at the beginning I was a little confused. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just like, wait, I'm so confused of what's going on here.
Right.
I'm like, well, who's speaking to him? What is all this? Then I finally realized, oh, okay, now I understand the story.
Spoiler alert, just in case.
Oh yeah, spoiler
alert. Spoiler alerts.
I understand the story. But I'm not going to go into detail. This is what I'll tell you. It was a good movie. Okay. And I really believe what this movie taught, like when I was watching it, what it was about is basically like the main character, his name was Ray. Right, that was his name? Ray? Ray? Okay, Ray. And he has a lot of regrets in his life. Well, he doesn't have a lot of regret. He has one regret, and that one regret is not saying sorry to his father. Him and his father had an argument, and he couldn't. So since he had a regret, he put in his mind, this is me being honest, I feel like he put it in his mind that he had to find a way to fix that problem. To atone for it. Right. And that atoning for it got him hearing other voices. The voices is, you're going to be able to cut it with multiple voices, in my opinion. And those voices were people that had their own regrets. They weren't real, though. They were ghosts.
Okay.
And they had their own regrets. And here's one thing I learned. I don't know if this is true, but like I know in like movies and stuff, even I heard, maybe it could be true, but when you have regret, sometimes like a spirit, when a spirit has regret,
it
lingers on. So those spirits were lingering on their regret, and the only way to get away from the regret is
to play baseball.
Play baseball.
Play baseball again.
Play baseball, see baseball, and his dad's spirit lingered, and the only reason why his dad's spirit lingered was actually because of Ray. Because Ray wanted to apologize.
Yeah.
But he never apologized, let's be real here. He really didn't.
It's kind of implied because
it kind of implied that he did it, but like that's basically what the gist of the movie was. It was more he was the one that, because of his regret, he had that in his mind that he has so much regret that he wanted to say bye to his father. That he put it in his mind that he has to help other people's regrets.
Yeah. The thing here is that he doesn't realize like all the voices, right? It's all pointing towards his resentment towards his father. Because the first one is, if you build it, he will come. He thought that if he built this cornfield, that Shoeless Joe Jackson came. And it's like, so that's it. Ease his pain.
Was supposed to be Terrence
Mann. And then, but it really wasn't easing his pain. And then Go the Distance.
Was supposed to be Archie.
Archie, yeah.
And then...
But all of it was really to ease his dad's pain
No, it wasn't even ease his dad's pain.
It's his own pain, right? Because
that's what it was. It was basically
he says it at the end. He's like, "Oh, the voice was you." He thought that the voice was Shoeless Joe Jackson, but no, it's like Shoeless Joe Jackson goes, "No, Ray, it was you." It's like the desires, the unsettled stuff in your own heart, and the guilt. That's you needed to go and you needed to do this to be able to confront all of your regrets in life. And so that's what now here's my question. Do you think that it garners it deserves the praise that it always gets and the attention that it always gets as a movie?
What do you mean?
Because like a lot of folks think that it's an overrated movie, and as you said, it's like also kind of confusing and it's not grounded in reality. But do you think that it should be ranked as probably one of the greatest baseball movies? Not one of the greatest movies.
It's a good movie. The only reason why it was confusing at first to me, and this is why, because first of all, it's late at night. I'm not gonna understand. But then when I realized it, like I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. I started understanding now. Like you'll understand. I think once you get to, like, once he talks about his father, which I think he mentions it.
When he's talking to his wife.
When he talks to his wife before, then you understand. Yeah. You're understanding it.
And he's also talking to Terrence Mann
about it. Then you understand it a little bit more. And then you're realizing. Then when you realize, this is. It's not about. It's all about his regrets. There's one thing I could say is. There are times where people could relate to that because there's, like I said, there are people that believe that spirits linger, if they have regret, if they feel some type of way. I watch a show called Supernatural. That show is basically like they go after demons and spirits and stuff like that, bad ones too, and they mention like, oh yeah, sometimes spirits they linger.
Right.
I don't know if that's true in the real world. I know there's demons in the real world. I believe people can be demon possessed. Spirits, maybe. Maybe there's spirits that do linger around this world, but
we have like unresolved issues.
Probably.
Maybe that's true, but yeah. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it. But yeah, if you haven't seen Field of Dreams, I don't know why, but check it out. Any comments you have about it, comment down below. All right, so we are at trying to close things out. To close things out, we were just wondering this. Social media. We already know how crazy social media is. We are now on social media. We use social media. And do we think that that prima donna players should have be involved in social media?
I feel like not prima donnas. I just think should any athlete have a podcast or like a social media, I guess you could say.
Okay. So I guess let's close things out by discussing that. So yeah,
I'll let you go first.
I think that it's still if everybody has their opinions, the only thing about it is that I think when you have a social media like that, it's gotta be interesting. It has to do something. It's not just you just spouting off your particular opinions. If you're a celebrity like that, I was just saying, spouting off your opinions, that's what we do. But I know we're not super famous people yet. But the thing with like these folks is like, do something, make it interesting. It's like, we already know that you make billions of dollars, but make it interesting in terms of the social media. Like, for example, let's take somebody like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's super famous, and he has like series where he does all of these different. He goes Peyton's Places on ESPN, and I think PK Subban does the same thing too, but from a hockey standpoint. So those kinds of like blogging or making it interesting and doing something fun like that, I think in that vein, I think that's a cool thing. That would be a cool thing to do. Like Sergei Vaca. Oh my gosh, Sergei Vaca used to have a show.
I think he still does it.
He still does it. The cooking show. I love Sergei.
I believe he still does.
And he still does it.
I think he might still be doing it. I'm not sure.
That's something different. That's something unique. Like he's cooking for all these different things, and he's showing them all of these other.
And then he also has celebrities and like
come in. Yeah,
not celebrity. He also has more basketball players, and I'll say this about podcasting with the athletes. It's like I love like there's some I like Podcast P is with Paul George, and that one's interesting because they talk about they talk about the NBA, but he also talks about things that he deals with like as a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I like. Draymond Green's another one. He's a basketball player, still active one. I like those active ones. JJ Redick's a former. Yeah, he's a retired, but he also has some good stories. And he's a smart man. Like he knows about basketball. I think there's pros and cons. I think one pro, and this is just me being honest, is like a pro is you can learn how a athlete feels or how an athlete what they do in their daily lives. Mm-hmm. Like for example, remember how we talked about mental health? Well, Paul George and like other athletes, when they talk about getting an injury in their leg or their arm, they talk about how they go through that mental health and how it's tough to go through that mental health.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to hear because, you're not, we always think, oh, well, these players are soft, but mental health is not something to joke around with, On top of that, I think a con is, and this is where I've seen a lot recently, is bashing a player and ripping a player and putting down that player. Like, look, you could be a critic. You could critique things. It's okay to be a critiquer, know? But, like, I want to say it. Stephen A. Smith is one of those guys that just likes to put down our guys. Likes to put down Knicks players. I just showed Fred, Kenyon Martin.
Kenyon Martin, yeah.
Was literally trashing Julius Randle because after game 5 in the round 2 series, he went to his number one supporter, his son and his wife, and celebrated with them because of the win.
Yeah.
And he was bashing him, and they were making up lies saying that no one messed with him, no one from the organization, his teams don't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a con. And you see that sometimes. Like, I love Patrick Beverley. He could be annoying sometimes, but he could be cool. But, like, there was that one time when he was in First Take, and he was just, like, bashing Chris Paul. I'm just like, you don't have to bash, I feel like that's a con, using it to attack someone and bash someone, Mm-hmm. I feel like if you have your own podcast, you should try your best to spread joy, spread peace, spread love,
mm-hmm.
And try to be nice to people, We critique people, we'll be honest, we do critique people, but have we ever, like, put someone down?
No.
In this podcast, have we ever said, LeBron even did no, we haven't. I might have said something about Trae. I don't know if I ever put him down though. I might maybe say he's overrated, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's like critiquing. That's what I'm saying. Like those are like critiquing stuff.
Like we usually, whenever we do something like that, there's a particular basis, not just like, oh, we hate LeBron or anything like that.
It's more like. We don't go into a personal level. We don't go into like their family or into that type of stuff. And I feel like
you keep it centered around the facts around basketball.
Yeah. Like
around like the facts in terms of that. Right.
And I feel like that's a con because even though I like Draymond Green, he did the same thing with Dillon Brooks. He did call him out a lot in his podcast. But at the same time, Dillon Brooks did ask for it. Mm-hmm. Is that wrong? Is that both of them were at the wrong, in my opinion?
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, I feel like if you're gonna, your podcast should not be to just attack your other athletes and other players, because it's not right. How would you like if they had their own podcast and they start bashing you?
Here's the thing, though, Matt. Especially with the way that social media is, it's like social media is always driven by views, by the oh snap, someone said this. I think that when you're being driven by getting the shock, the extra click, the affecting the algorithm, I'm going to say something that I'm just going to say it so that way I get more views in terms of that.
I get that, but
and if it's more and this is just how our society is. If it's more popular to do the bashing because it's going to get more attention, that's the whole concept of bad news. Bad news is good news because it gets more attention. That's kind of like, I think, the mindset with most social media folks. I mean, we're never like that. We never always like try to do the like I mean, if we have to hit something, we'll hit something.
Can I like rebuttal that real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think, and this is me being honest with you, I think there are times where people actually are tired of that. Tired of seeing that always like, I'll give you a great example because he keeps bringing it up. Isaiah Thomas with the whole Michael Jordan situation. everybody's tired of hearing Isaiah Thomas bring it back up. So what I'm saying, and honestly, if you're a pro athlete that wants that attention, then you shouldn't have social media. You shouldn't have a podcast because in reality, because at the end of the day, what you can say to people, and this is what people don't understand. Some athletes, they do have influence, and some of these athletes, since they have influence, what they could say in a podcast could affect someone else's life.
Correct. Yeah, and that hits the nail on the head because a lot of times they won't think about what they're saying. It's just more about to get the attention, whether it's right or wrong or not. Like one of the other Chadwick Boseman movies that I really like was Draft Day, and then there's a scene in Draft Day where he expresses like his discontent that they gave up a draft pick for someone else, right? And he's like super upset about it, not knowing the whole aspect of the story, and he blows it up on social media. And then Kevin Costner goes and says, like, you got to stop doing that because it's going to show that you are this person that just likes to talk. There's no sense of discretion. And plus, it shows that you are this prima donna type player, and that's not going to fly well with everybody. So, and that's one of the things with the social media that giving it to it's like book. Back in the day, when you didn't have social media yet, everybody wrote a book. Like Jose Canseco was disgruntled with the fact that Mark McGwire got all the attention for doing steroids. And even though that he did the same thing, he was labeled the bad guy. Mark McGwire was labeled the hero. So he wrote a book about it. Terrell Owens did the same thing. He was upset with like how things go. So he wrote a book about it. You wrote a book about it. Nowadays, you don't need to write a book. You just open up a YouTube account and have a channel, and you just spout off like your.
I wonder what happened to how it used to be, where like if you had a problem with someone, you just say it to their face.
You face it. Yeah, that's that, and plus that's really how it is now. It's like we like to hide, we like to get the attention out there, and then you're willing to tell that to everybody, except the person that you're attacking. It's like if you're going to come at that person, you come at that person. It's kind of like in I don't know, in wrestling. In wrestling, like you confront the person directly. Wrestling's like fake and everything, but like the storyline is like, you know what? Yeah, you may say that thing about that person, but eventually at the end of it all, you're going to confront that person. Now it's just like, yo, so-and-so is like whack. So-and-so is like this. So-and-so is like that. But you never, ever encounter so-and-so because you're just too chicken to
I'll give you a good wrestling analogy before we go. It's like John Cena and The Rock.
Like who?
So John Cena and The Rock. Mm-hmm. So what happened was John Cena and The Rock actually didn't like each other.
Okay.
So here's
in real life or
in real life. And so they made in WrestleMania, I can't remember which one, but they did do like a Rock versus John Cena, but they didn't really like each other. And the reason why was because John Cena, I don't know if it was I think it was John Cena who started it, but he called out The Rock because The Rock's he's like, he said in not in WWE in an interview, he was basically saying like, The Rock said that he loves these guys, he loves his fans, but he doesn't come. He only comes once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
He mostly cares about his movies and stuff like that.
Right.
And The Rock didn't like that. And The Rock says something in the Hall of Fame when his dad got into the Hall of Fame. He had to say something about the Marines and said something about John Cena, and John Cena didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then there was like a little feud with each other, like back and forth through Twitter and stuff, I believe. And they finally decided, like WWE said, you know what, let's like make them fight each other like in wrestling. And when I say like the promos were actually really personal, like they were personal, they were personal. But John Cena said once he got to know him, he apologized. And then, like, now John Cena understood the whole situation because now John Cena does that too. Now he's an actor. He does Hollywood. He goes, now I understand how it was for him, And he said this is what John Cena said. If I would have known this earlier, I would have not said something, Right. And he apologized for it. He was, I did apologize to him. He goes, because now I'm in this situation too where I love the WWE. He loved the WWE. But since our schedules are crazy, we can't really do it no more.
Yeah, a lot of times that's how it always is. We're always ready to attack folks, but we don't necessarily know the whole story. And because we don't know the whole story, and we're kind of ignorant to the thing, and like, just to touch on it, just like the whole Allen Iverson practice thing, that doesn't excuse him for that. But again, the whole story, we don't really know the whole story about it, and we react to that.
There's a commercial. Have you been watching the Chase commercials?
No.
So there's a commercial. It's a cashback commercial. And Kevin Hart's in it. It's Kevin Hart. They're in the podium. They're like in the press conference. It's Kevin Hart, Stephen Curry, and Allen Iverson. Right?
Okay.
So Kevin Hart basically goes, "We're talking about cashback," and then Curry goes, "Cashback. We're talking about cashback, right?" And Allen Iverson goes, "We're not talking about practice." No, we're talking about cashback. And then Kyrie goes, "Cashback." And Allen Iverson goes, "Yeah, we're talking about cashback. We don't even talk about practice." It had me dying, bro. I'm just like, yo, that's funny.
But again, yeah, like,
we're not talking about practice.
But the whole story, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think that's the thing. I think we always talk about it is really before you attack someone, get all the facts. And I think if we have social media, and when athletes have social media, we're not saying you don't. Like, make good use of it. Use it to do something good for once. Like, to either show something new, make it unique, make it fun. But if you're just gonna get on there just to bash on people that you're not going to, and that's all you do, and it's nothing different, then it's just a waste of bandwidth and not really doing anything to contribute to society in general. Parting thoughts, Matt. Do you have any parting thoughts?
Not really. I think we've said everything.
Okay, before we go, who are your two picks for the finals? Go.
I really believe the Nuggets.
Okay.
It's a toss-up between...
Quick.
I want the Sixers to win. I'm going to say it's Nuggets and Sixers.
Nuggets, Sixers. Good. I will go also the same thing, Nuggets, Sixers. That's what I would like. Who's MVP?
For the series?
For the series.
Well, I want the Nuggets to win the whole thing. So if the Nuggets win, obviously it's going to be Jokic.
Okay. I would like the Nuggets. We are in accord. So what's it going to be?
At first I wanted the Warriors, but the Lakers took them out, and I want the Lakers. So I really want the Nuggets now to get a title.
So Nuggets in.
Ooh. I'm gonna say Nuggets in 6.
I'm gonna go Nuggets in 7. That's what I think. So I think Jokic is a total package, and I think that he's a little bit more nimble than Embiid is, and I think that's more of a team mentality with a lot less ego, and I think that they're going to be an exciting team to watch. So, thank you again for watching PB and Cashew. We really hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and as we say every single week, we don't know you, but we love you, and there's a God above that does. I'm PB.
And I'm Cashew.
Peace out, PB Cashewville.